Hello, my name's Jane Frank and I'm really pleased to be reading to you today from Brisbane. I'd like to thank QPF for the invitation to be part of the Panacea Poets series. And before I begin reading, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm reading today, the Turrbal people, and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. The poems I'd like to read to you today are from my new chapbook, which is called Wide River. It was just published last month by Calanthe Press, based on Tamborine Mountain in southeast Queensland. It's a relatively new publishing press, inspired by the work of the poet and activist Judith Wright and Jack McKinney, the writer and philosopher. The first poem I'd like to read today is called Survey, and it's a prose poem. A young man with a clipboard asks me, as I stand poolside about to immerse myself in invisibility, how I might feel if another swimmer was unhappy to share a lane and requested that I move, and whether, if this situation was to present itself, I would refuse or immediately agree. If I consider I have equal rights to someone who might be a stronger swimmer, or would think their need was greater, and if I agreed, would it be to avoid confrontation, or because it was my duty to move? I've already admitted that I didn't think myself a strong swimmer. Or because I am a complete pushover, no matter what demands are made of me. All of this before I've even dipped my toe in the water on a Monday morning. And if you don't mind me asking, this is for an official university study, he continues, why is it that you come here to swim? Is it for training, or fitness, or health, or relaxation, or to take a break from your routine, or as a change from another kind of exercise, or for your mental health, just for fun maybe? I don't tell him that I love the raised pavilion and the curvilinear walls, the startling composition of geometric and plastic modernist influenced forms that let me feel as if I'm moving through an alien landscape in fluid, transparent space at a futuristic junction. That the teal and white bunting creates a festive air that buoys me, while at the same time supporting, restoring. That if I close my eyes, I can almost imagine I'm in a clear, azure Mediterranean swathe of smooth sea, surrounded by craggy cliffs and molten warmed. That there is nothing more optimistic than to make fresh strokes through a newborn, mist-covered pool as the sun appears, so a new day is an invention all my own, and skin becomes water that becomes a rhythm of me and my mind moving yoga-like, worry draining, so an amniotic feeling returns me to untroubled times far from the struggle on land, and that toxins are released despite the water not being salt, and because Hippocrates' beliefs about water and healing are somehow unquestionably true. I don't tell him either that the silence of swimming is not nothing, that silence is not empty or meaningless, that the black line I follow is not part of any grid, that noise cannot control me where I go, that the medium is a friend that unspools my clogged head so sentences appear already formed on a deep page, that every exhalation helps me shed poison, that I swim to find a softer understanding, that I saw a video of a deer swimming between Scottish islands at low tide, and that sometimes I imagine myself to be that deer with its fragile litheness, and that despite not looking particularly lithe, I use the time to ponder questions about whether humans really did evolve from fish. Quite hard to imagine as we only negotiate the rough interface between atmosphere and fluid with feet that act a bit like brakes. And that sometimes you don't need a reason. I'm conscious that this answer is too long to fit on the earnest young man's clipboard. The second poem I'd like to read is called Fractals. In the definition of fractal I look up, there is no mention of memory. But when I think of you smile 1,000 times, not even exact copies. I know it is a set of beautiful complexity bounded in absolute value, the way Mandelbrot meant. Sometimes I see familiar coastlines as Cosh curves. Journeys locked in cold sunshine repeat geometrically in my head, so days of abandon endlessly flicker. Always there is snow heaped on hills above the forest, and over the intervening years, positives have multiplied, so there is strange mathematical grace in what once felt like pain repeating into infinity. When I think back to that time, there is always gorse in flower. One day, mathematicians might be able to establish how much love is contained in vivid colour, in snowflakes, in lightning bolts, and in the outlines of islands. Fractals are images of dynamic chaos, it says, unbroken patterns, and people, I've decided, hiding in plain sight. Okay, the last poem I'll read is called The Mary, and I'm originally from Maryborough in the Fraser Coast area of Queensland, so it's about the river there where I grew up. The Mary. It beckons, the wide river. We walk beside it in late afternoon sun as it shifts around boats and under bridges, through mulga and mangrove flats, past squat houses tucked under palms and in the purple shade of figs, winding a slow wayward path to the heads where ferries wait to cross the curve of bay, reminding us of the wash of years, the need for deep reserves, that it's easier to follow the natural course of things. Thank you.